Gerhard, Cryptozoologist. So what does that mean exactly, Ken?
Cryptozoology, the literal translation is crypto meaning hidden, and zoology, of course, pertains to the study of animals. So hidden animals is the technical description, but what most people know cryptozoology as is the investigation of legendary beasts and creatures like Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, the Loch Ness Monster, and things like that.
I think a lot of people know you from Monster Quest, probably on, was that on the History Channel?
Monster Quest on the History Channel.
And because you were on the Birdzilla episode.
That was one. That was my first season.
And that was that your first book about the birds or the giant flying creatures?
Yes, very good. My first book is called Big Bird, Modern Sightings of Flying Monsters, and it's about modern sightings of thunderbird-like creatures. And of course, thunderbirds are from Native American legend, and it refers to these enormous, airplane-sized, eagle-like or vulture-like birds that people have been reporting for years and years.
And of course, your most recent book is about strange creatures in Texas itself.
Yes.
So, apart from the bushes, what other kind of strange creatures are there in Texas?
Well, Texas, befitting of its great stature as a land area, actually has a lot of different types of mystery creatures. We have Bigfoot reports. We have the Chupacabra, of course, thunderbirds, even really bizarre things like werewolf legends, and lake monsters. A little bit of everything, actually. Lots of tall tales.
And I mean, with such a populated state, there's still a lot of unexplored area there as well, because there's a lot of geography in Texas, right?
Well, sure. Yeah. In particular, there's one area in the southeastern part of Texas known as the Big Thicket, and it actually got that name from the Native American people who lived there because it was basically impassable, because it was this big brushy area of vegetation. And the Big Thicket is very famous for reports of Bigfoot-type creatures, as well as Black Panthers, UFOs, ghost lights, the whole deal. And so that's just one example, but sure, Texas has other areas too that are quite mysterious.
And of course, one of our favorite films here at Nightmare Theater is the 70s classic, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Oh yes.
So that film kind of showed a Bigfoot that maybe, by a lot of people's, perception, maybe a little more aggressive than the typical sort of northwestern Bigfoot, which seems shy and reclusive. The most famous scene, of course, from that film is the guy on the toilet, and Bigfoot reaching in the window trying to grab him. Yeah. So do you think that's
Danny
true?
Ford. Well, that is supposedly based on true events. It's worth noting that the name Bigfoot, obviously is Pacific Northwest is where that name originated, up in California. And in the early 1970s, that particular moniker had not really drifted to the eastern United States yet. And that's why no one in the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek actually utters the name Bigfoot or makes that connection or link, although the descriptions are very similar. But to answer your question, we really do, in the eastern United States, we have more accounts of these creatures or beings being aggressive towards people, attacking them and chasing them and so forth. You don't really hear about that much in the Pacific Northwest. And one theory to explain that is that, in the Pacific Northwest you have this huge area of contiguous mountains and forests, lots of terrain and habitat for these things to roam. Whereas in the eastern United States, they're kind of in little pockets. Things are cut off by bridges and highways and rivers. So the result of that could be that they just feel very territorial, like we're infringing on their habitat, and they feel the need to push us away.
It's amazing the amount of names that different parts of the country have for creatures that, we still haven't proven they exist, but I feel like they're out there somewhere. Here in our area, here in Florida, we have the skunk ape, of course.
That's correct. So, skunk ape in Florida, and you have the Momo in Missouri, and the Minnesota Iceman. There are a lot of regional names for Bigfoot all over North America.
I kind of think it's the same.
Descriptions are very similar, yeah.
Right, well, Ken, where can people find out more about you and more about the work that you're doing and more about stuff that you have coming up?
Well, you can look me up on Facebook. I have a fan site, Ken Gerhard Cryptozoologist. That's probably the best place to get in touch with me right now. I post a lot of my research and photos and things on there.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. And why don't you folks get back to the movie here on Nightmare Theater.